looks like we're going live. Oh, up there at the top where it says, yeah. Come on up. Hey everybody, we're still getting the technical difficulties worked out as per tradition. It's done? Okay, excellent. Randy Kennedy back there with Randy Von Gaming is helping me moderate. So show him some love if y'all want. Not a whole lot, Martha. How are you doing? Hey, and I was hoping that we could do some sort of like live Q&A session. I'm probably going to work on a little bit of inventory while we talk for a bit. Just stuff like that. Hey, Jillian. How's it going? Yeah, hey, Vampy. So, this has been a crazy week. We just got back from Indiana Comic-Con on like Monday. Hey, Marie. And it was a fantastic convention, but we were not really able to get a whole lot of like footage of the convention because we were so busy the whole time. And then I had struggled to get a video a day scheduled for upload while we were away. Aren't they though? Oh my gosh. Here, hand it to me.
No, this is bad.
No, I want to show it to everybody.
Ooh.
Y'all, if you ever want to taste something that is a lot like if somebody else ate a salad, mixed it with applesauce, and then like mouth fed it to you. This stuff. It's supposed to be nutritious, but quite frankly, I'd rather eat a salad and some applesauce myself. But here you go, Randy. You can have that back. We found it at Sam's Club. Hey, Harley Dog. But yeah, we got back from Indiana. Ooh, can you do more? I'd love to do that, Chef. Oh my gosh, they're huge. Like the question is, how big are the baby bunnies? They're so big. I think they're almost like weaned. So yes, the random number generator, Shannon, is the best idea like ever, because it was getting to where I was going to have to spend like an hour just rolling to see who wins. Oh, what was I talking about?
A question here is, I've been waiting so I can ask you where you get your bead supplies.
The question is, where do I get my bead supplies? All over the place. Like I initially shopped almost exclusively at firemountaingems.com. But they do like quite a few like discounts and stuff. So I would buy from them, but only whenever I had an order of like 200 or more items. Whereas now I get most of my stuff from eBay, because a lot of these, are you okay?
I'm feeding it to the dogs and they won't eat it.
I want to see.
Where's Harley?
She's over here. Here, I'll feed it to her.
It's
Harley wants some green goo. Yum, yum, yum. Yum, yum, yum. Here. Oh, you don't have lips. There you go. Oh, it's all up your nose. Oh, it's everywhere. God, this is a bad decision. I need paper towels stat. Here. Oh, poor baby with your booger nose. Oh, that was a poor life decision. Okay, anyways, we get a lot of them from Fire Mountain Gems, from eBay, because a lot of these gemstones just aren't mined here in North America. So if I get them directly from the manufacturers, they're usually manufactured, careful baby, they're at the mine. But we had struggled to get a bunch of tutorials made and scheduled for upload for while we were in Indiana. So that resulted in like probably one of the worst videos I've ever posted, because it's 2 a.m. and I was filming it and I was editing it. So the light was horrible. The camera, it was a new camera. So like it was picking up on its own like recording noise, kind of, I guess. But it was just, oh, it was bad. So I'm going to be reshooting that one. Oh, and it didn't even have the whole tutorial in there, so we'll see how that goes.
It says they love your green hair.
Oh, thank you.
Else says, how long have you been crafting?
Thank you. I'm glad you guys like my green hair. I didn't mean for it to be green. It was supposed to be teal. So yeah. But there's worse colors that it could have ended up like. So,
You want more of it, Harley?
you want more of that goo? Go get some more goo.
Come here.
Go get some goo.
Come here.
You have to go around though. Okay. Oh. And I've been crafting professionally for 9 years now. So, and I was like kind of craftily inclined prior to that. Like I would do like paint by numbers and like cross stitch and crochet and stuff. But it really cause we got like a chainmail kit and started making a bunch of stuff. And then like, so we got right into it. So.
Leather does the buffer with water and clove work because you use gel and beef or the flow dyes.
The question is pertaining to how I stain leather, and it's because I use a lot of EcoFlow Gel Antique, and whenever I'm using this, I'll use a spray bottle and water and like a paper towel or a piece of cloth and like buff off the extra. That's something that I do almost exclusively just on the Gel Antique, and that is because with other ones like stuff like this one, it's just a water-based dye. It's really runny anyways. It's just a completely different kind of consistency. Yeah, so we'll keep those as treats for the dogs.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Harley likes it.
Oh.
'Cause he was like, oh, I'll try another. No,
Blech.
no, that's okay.
So, any other questions? I'm pulling some up over here.
Have you heard of jet beads? Order from Fire Mountains for everybody at 200 quality price.
I have heard of jet beads, and I would recommend them to other folks, but I don't know. I just bypassed it right to eBay because I found a lot of the same manufacturers that supply Fire Mountain gems, and I just order from them wholesale. So it's like it's great for if you like really need 300 of one thing. Which whenever it comes to like ear wires and stuff, yeah, it's like I order those in batches of 1,000. So. Ooh.
Suggesting for learning to make swirls.
For the question is, what is my suggestion for when someone's learning to make swirls? And I would suggest practice, practice, practice. Save every bit of scrap wire that you have from other projects, and just make swirls out of them. And don't be afraid to experiment with gripping your pliers in different ways or using different tools for it, or just all kinds of stuff. So.
Do you still buff the paper towels with water-based dyes?
With the water-based dyes, I don't buffer with paper towels. I use... There is a benefit to not cleaning up my messes. I use this. It's a piece of blue jean that is ultra impregnated with Aussie wax. And it seals all the pores. It removes the excess stain. It makes it nice and shiny, all kinds of stuff like that. Ooh, the question is, would we be able to live stream at one of the conventions we go to? I don't know, and most of that is because we use this cell phone that I'm live streaming with to take our card transactions. Now, most of the conventions have like a photography clause there in the registration paperwork that you sign whenever you get your badge. So I don't think there'd be a problem on that front. But I mean, if y'all would be interested in that, we can totally take steps to see if we can live stream out of our booth. Kind of like, who is it, Crunchyroll that live streams? Ooh, the question is, do I ever do leather pyrography, which is like wood burning? Yes, I love it. It's fantastic, but it smells horrific. Like horrible, like burning flesh, kind of. Who'd have thought? But yeah, so, but it makes some really cool effects. I especially like it on chrome tanned and latigo leather, if that's helpful to you. The question is, where do I get my leather? I get almost all of my leather from tandyleather.com, but I get it from their store in Springfield, Missouri, because if you go to their website, you can put in your zip code and see what stores are close to you, and I very much prefer buying leather in person because you can look at the side of the hide, you can kind of like pick through them and pick out which one's your favorite, which one has the best, like, some of them are stiffer than others, some of them are very, like, milled and flowy. And for me, it just really helps to, like, I can feel it and be like, yeah, I can make leather out of that. Or I might run into something there in the store that's on clearance that's not listed online that would be like, well, I need to get some of that. So,
Would you do some more wire weaving permanent designs at some point in the future for the place?
yeah, I sure will. I actually have a mountain of custom work waiting on me. So I need to get on that. Actually, I want to show you guys some more pieces that I've gotten made that I made them, like, I've learned my lesson. I'm not going to record at night anymore. So, this is a piece that I got done yesterday evening, which I actually think I'm going to wear today. But it was a custom piece done for one of my good friends and clients, Carrie, with Unleash the Goddess. You can find her on Etsy, but she does beautiful dichroic glass work. And she was like, she sent me these different components, and she was like, hey girl, I need you to wrap this for me. And I was like, okay. Like, she traded me for pants. Like, so now I have some really cute pants. So, but I really like that.
Read up in the Netherlands. I was wondering if you could do a tutorial on Japanese chainmail.
The question is about if I can do a weave on Japanese chainmail, and I would love to do that. This is another one. Like, this is just a real simple, like, she had some beads that she wanted me to set, so it's kind of, I was really pleased with how this one came out. It's a modification of the fractal wrap that I had done. And instead of just weaving around the edges, I wove through the holes there in the center. And so that made it pretty cute. But yeah, this is all custom work for her. I have a couple of rings that she wanted, some dichroic glass that she wanted made into rings. So just little stuff, real simple, not a whole lot of weaving.
And on that note, do you work on several pieces at a time, or work on one till it's done?
The question was, because I don't know if y'all can hear Randy, the question was, do I work on several pieces at a time, or do I just work on one until it's done? And a lot of that has to do with just what the piece is. Like, with a lot of the leather pieces, sometimes, like, I'll case the leather, which is where you, like, hold it under the water until the bubbles stop, and then I have to let it rest for a little while to return to be a little drier so that it'll be the perfect consistency for tooling. And so what I'll do is I'll case it and then I'll work on another piece, or I'll stain it and then I'll go work on another piece. And then oftentimes, to bypass that chunk of time that it takes, I'll work on, like, a batch of, like, 5 to 10 at a time, and that way I'll start on the first one, and then by the time I get done with the 5th or the 10th, the first one's ready for the next step. And so I'll kind of chaotic shuffle. Sorry, I think I'm gonna sneeze. Excuse me. Excuse me. Okay. The question is, how did I discover my talent for wire weaving? And the answer is, I did not have talent. I was not good at any of this stuff, you guys. Like, it was horrible. But I enjoyed it. And that's the biggest thing, is you don't have to be an expert to enjoy what you do. But if you like it, you're often going to get better at it, even if it's just a little. And so I found more that it was a joy of wire wrapping and less of a talent, because it was rough. Like, it was really bad. But it was mostly stemming from the desire of, I have these stones that don't have holes in them, but I need them to be jewelry. And so it kind of just layered and progressed from there. I learned a lot I bought a bunch of tutorials from jewelrylessons.com whenever that was still a website. I learned a lot just from talking to other artists. Not gonna lie, I think we're all guilty of this, but I'd spend many an hour scrolling through DeviantArt, And this was like pre-Pinterest. So, and looking at other people's work and just having my mind blown at their creativity and being like, well, I want to try making that. And then it's like, so I try to like incorporate these things from other, other artists without like, because you never want to rip somebody off. And so that's why I have always been so open about, well, how do you do this? Because it's like, we all learn from each other and stuff. And there's some folks who are very angry about that, and I try to not step on toes, but at the same time it's like knitting. We didn't invent a lot of this stuff. We learned the techniques, and then we'll all kind of stumble onto the same thing again, if that makes sense, in our own ways. So it's like some things like the fractal wrap. I was inspired to do this whenever I saw on one of Randy's video games, Dark Age of Camelot, which he's actually doing a Let's Play about. Just accept it. No, because one of your characters did a cast.
Regardless, it's not it.
That's how I remember it. Anyways, put the link to your channel. I was trying to be nice and plug you. And he's over here arguing with me, like, that wasn't the game that you saw it in. It's like, it doesn't matter. Was it an anime?
Yes.
Which anime was it?
I can't remember.
Well, yeah, DeviantArt's fantastic. But, ooh. The question is, what other things do I enjoy other than jewelry making and crafting? And that's, I love gardening, if y'all hadn't noticed. Like, I do the every other day gardening vlog, and I just recently graduated my Master Gardener course, so I'm now officially a Master Gardener trainee until I finish my 30 hours of volunteer work, which I'm going to be doing in the University of Missouri Extension office, answering the helpline. That way I can talk to people about their plants all day. I like hoop dance and dancing and flow arts. Like, I spin poi. I aspire to one day spin fire on like hoops and pois and stuff, but I am flammable and made of meat, so that's something that I'll keep working on. Like, that's for one day. But I belly dance, I play the flute, I'm learning the guitar, piano, harp, and violin. I like being busy, I guess, apparently. And I'm hoping this fall to start my yoga teacher training so that I can teach yoga as well as hoop dance at the studio that I teach at. That, and I'd like to know more for my own purposes. So I tell you what, I've been practicing yoga since I was like 15. There's a huge difference between being 30 and being 15, as well as being 230 and 130. So I'm really discovering the differences between body types, even just in my own body. And so I'd like to learn as much as I can about that so that I can help people, learn more about themselves from what I've learned. Like, I like teaching. Like, everything in life gears towards, I gotta learn about this so I can teach people.
Are those gears from Etsy?
This gear that I have here was from Michaels. It came in like a 4-pack. I go to their website. I can't remember, but it was like Feed Landing, I think, is the brand. But if you just go to Michaels' website and type in gears, and then also I highly recommend going to AliExpress.com. And you can get all sorts of gears and stuff from there. But and we also have a tutorial posted somewhere. I need to check and make sure that that didn't break. Where'd you go, Pendant? I just threw it on the ground. And I don't want to run over it with the chair. There you are.
Will you be doing more work with clay?
Oh, yeah. The question is, will I be doing more? I found it. It's okay. Whew, that's scary. The question is, will I be doing more work with clay? And the answer is yes. I love working with polymer clay. I actually need to be making a big batch of horns here soon, like how we usually have glued onto our heads whenever we're in the booth. And so I'm going to be making some like cosplay prop tutorials, because the same horns that we glue onto our heads, we also do like in leather pauldrons and all sorts of stuff. So
Do you ever cast jewelry pieces with sugar, like using sugar or vitamins?
The question is, have I ever done any jewelry casting with pewter? And the answer is no. It's a lot. Pewter is a soft enough metal with a low enough melt temperature that I could technically work with it on the stove. But it's, again, the level of safety that it takes between, like, wire wrapping is relatively safe. Like, I'm not gonna melt my flesh or, like, cook myself on accident with wire wrapping, but with like lampwork glass and a lot of things like that, like I really want to be properly trained, at least like in person by another artist who has like a studio and all of the, like, because I don't want to burn my house down, and I can barely cook without burning the house down. So I I would love to, like, so much I would love to. The answer is the question is, how do I ever sleep? The answer is I don't. I pass out in a fit of like hungry, need to shower, exhaustion, and that's where Randy steps in and takes care of me. Because he's like, here's some soup, here's some water, just wash your little face. He's so sweet to me.
Have you done any paper crafts, like mini albums, cards, something like that?
Sometimes whenever we have the time, I do love to do little scrapbook thank you notes with like stamping and like that whole mess as a thank you note in with the packages that we ship off. And then I don't know, like sometimes I like it, but I haven't done as much of it because I haven't found a market for it, if that makes sense. And like that's everything that I do. I try to find an avenue that where it's teachable or where it's sellable, because I have this crushing mushroom cloud of student loan debt that I can't do anything until I get that taken care of, because it's like so much. So it's, again, so that really steers a lot of my hobbies. Like the only way I was able to justify being able to practice my instruments as much is because I was like, well, this way I can do my own background music and stuff without having to worry about royalties or any kind of copyright infringement or anything like that. So
Favorite flower or tree?
ooh, my favorite flower is probably Asiatic lilies. I love them. They're beautiful. What?
Check that out.
Woo! Timberly shivers? What on earth is that? But yeah, and then favorite tree? I don't know. I really like nectarines. Like, I like fruiting trees. If they keep doing it. The question is, can I do ship overseas? And yeah, but it costs like $15. So if it's a big piece, yeah, definitely. But that's just something to kind of keep in mind, is that but there's no way that I can work around that. Like I've tried to beg them at the post office and been like, please just let me send it for like $3, and they won't let me. So. But I do a giveaway, and that's, let me see, there it is. This one still has not been claimed. This was February's Fairy House prize, and the winner still hasn't sent me their address. So, and it's been a while, so I let them know. I was like, it's going back up for grabs. I do a Fairy House giveaway twice a month, and this one will be drawn for on May 1st. Because it's kind of cute. It's a little steampunk fairy heart, and look at the back. Those are the gears that we made in our gear making tutorial. And even the bottom's pretty neat. Like, I mean, just so much went into this one. And in our Fairy House giveaways, all of our giveaways, whether it's a seed giveaway or anything like that, anybody from anywhere can participate. I cannot ship extraterrestrially, but you can come and pick it up. So that'd be some Do you guys ever do Renaissance festivals?
Hold on before you answer that one.
Okay.
Whole list. Do you or will you be doing any floral or nature-inspired wire wrapping?
The question is, do I or will I do any floral or nature-inspired wire wrapping? And It's been a while since I've done anything that was like plant specific, but I think everything that I do is greatly influenced by the growth of plants and like the way their vining tendrils and everything behave. Like, let's see.
Even on the necklace you're wearing.
Yeah, even on this one that I'm wearing, because I just pulled this one out, and it's like everything. All the little spirals remind me of little rosettes and little like vines and things. But like on this one especially, just the way it's all. I mean, everything I do on some level is inspired by what I see in nature, because it's like, and like our wire trees and different things. Like, if you have a tree with like a more upright branch growth, that could be a birch. If you have one that has a low and like scraggly growth, that could be an old oak. Like, of course, the ones that have like the chain fringe and stuff hanging down, weeping, like it could be a weeping cherry or a weeping willow, like lots of different things like that. And then I incorporate a lot of mushrooms into my fairy houses, the little sculpts, the little mushrooms. Okay, next question.
Have you ever bought mail rings from the AliExpress? If so, what's their quality like?
I have never bought chainmail rings from AliExpress, and so I can't vouch for their quality, but I've seen a lot of the quality in the pre-bought stuff that I've gotten from them, and it's a very soft metal that is not saw cut, and it's just, if you're going to order some, just get a little bit, is what I would recommend. I do highly recommend getting them from theringlord.com, C&T Designs, Blue Buddha Boutique, as well as from me, because we coil and cut our own bright aluminum, and that way, like, all the stuff that you see me make in my tutorials, either I coiled and cut it or I got it from the Ring Lord. And so that way you know that the rings that if you order from us, you know that it's the same exact size, so it helps you to get the same exact result. But I do recommend ordering from a couple of different people and seeing what you like best. Next question.
Pentacle Wiccan stuff?
We do a lot of it could be considered very like pagan-y and stuff, and I do love the Fae aesthetic. And I was part of a pagan group at a Unitarian church through high school. I do all sorts of different kinds of events, but then I also go to a Episcopal church here in Carthage and do a lot of events there. So it's I like what the symbols can evoke in the people who wear them. Like, I'm working on a custom piece for a lady that's a finger rosary, and it's been really nice to get to kind of design that for her, because it has so much meaning for her, and I really like that. Next question.
When wire wrapping gemstones, do you mainly work in copper core wire, or do you work in sterling?
Okay, the question is, when wire wrapping, do I mainly work in copper core, or do I also work in sterling? Mostly copper core, because it's very affordable and it's what I already have on hand. Like you can see over here, this is a big drawer of just the colors that I use on a regular basis, like the colors and sizes. And then I also have more drawers because I order in bulk. So like I have more drawers for like if I run out of a small spool of the 26 gauge. I would love to work more in sterling, but it's pretty expensive. So until I develop a client base that like is willing to pay, like, because right now something like this would sell for like $15, maybe $20. If it were wrapped in sterling, I'd have to start at like $60. And that's just the difference in the wire, and that's just off the top of my head, and there's no weaving or anything involved in this. So some of my bigger projects can really eat through some wire. Now there is an option called, I think it's silver filled or Argentinium silver, which is like a lower silver content alloy. And the silver filled still has a copper core, but it has a much thicker silver covering than the silver plated. So those are things to keep in mind. And also the silver that I use from Parawire, you can see, is silver plated silver. So there is a little bit of silver in there before they put the actual plating over it. And that's, you'll notice on their silver filled, it's much, or on their silver plated, it's a little bit stiffer than just the plain copper too. So different materials will get you different results. Next question.
Would you be willing to do a beginning tutorial for children on wire
That would be, the question is, would I be willing to do a tutorial for wire wrapping for children?
It goes on to say that my little sister has Down syndrome and loves watching
Okay.
your videos, but sometimes gets lost, and was asking if she could put something to do with kids that would be easier.
Right on. I'll definitely take a look at that, because the things that stand out in my mind the most, like when working with kids, is to incorporate a lot of clay. Because then you can make just a little wire wrapped bale to like stick into the top of the clay and then bake it. Like I've worked with children who are like I teach panels and stuff at conventions, and this one there was like an 8-year-old girl in there who was like she almost made me look bad. Like she was really good at wire wrapping, so it's really difficult to gauge a person's skill set. But I'll definitely do some maybe foundation technique videos where it focuses more on one repetitious thing so that they can really get the hang of it before moving on to the next thing. But in any case, with beginners and even advanced wire wrappers, I highly recommend that you be patient with yourself, you be patient with your materials, and you be persistent, because a lot of what you see me do in my tutorials, I've been doing sometimes for 9 years, for like 10 hours a day for 9 years. So that's how we've gotten as proficient as we have at making the things that we do. But, so be patient with yourself. Next question.
How is it going with your feline visitor?
Mila is like absent without, like, she's gone. I can't find her anywhere. I haven't been able to talk to the neighbors. Well, the neighbors have her, but like she hasn't been back over to our house. I think they might have brought her in as an inside cat since she had her kittens, because surely she's had them by now. But I mean, she wasn't our cat to start with. She kind of just stumbled into our yard. But there's a question on here that I want to address immediately. It's we should do monthly craft kits that come with all the supplies of those month's crafts, and that's something that if you check out our Patreon, granted for $1 a month, it puts your name in the hat to participate in our Fairy House giveaways. But if you pledge like $10, that gives you the materials for one craft. Because I do tutorials like every other day, and then $20 is you get for 2 crafts, and $30. I mean, it kind of goes all the way up. And so the more you pledge, the more materials you'll get for that month's tutorials, if that makes sense.
Do you guys ever go to Renaissance fairs, and would you consider setting up a booth at one?
The question is, do we ever go to Renaissance festivals, and would we consider setting up at one? I would consider demonstrating at a Renaissance festival, but we've kind of over the years stopped applying because, I mean, all of the really big ones like Georgia Renaissance Festival, Ohio Ren Fair, 10 Ren, Scarborough, Texas, the Texas Renaissance Festival, a lot of these ones, Bristol even, they're like, oh, well, we already have a leather worker, well, we already have a chainmailer, well, we already have the wire wrapper, and I really understand that, and like at the same time, like just like every other artist out there, I'm like, but I'm different. But the ones that we have vended at, we found there's in a long-running Renaissance festival, there's always a weekend where everybody gets heat stroke. There's always a weekend where it's so windy you get like sandblasted from all the dust in the air and all your displays get knocked over. There's always a rain weekend. There's always a mud weekend where it's like, because like the rain weekend, it just drizzles. The mud weekend, it like torrential rainfall 2 days before the fair, so everything is just mud. And then there's always a tornado weekend. So we don't do a whole lot of Renaissance festivals because we really like that conventions are climate controlled, that we don't have to invest in any kind of like booth setup or anything, because a lot of the Ren fairs, they want you to look period accurate and things, and it's like it costs thousands of dollars for one of those cloth and wood tents that everybody's popped up in. And so it's like if we were to like, I don't know, it hasn't happened yet, I'm not adverse to it, but we haven't really pushed that way at all, because it's like we've even with conventions we've cut back to just one a month. So okay,
Ringboard is great. You can get different metals, including silver, dragon scale, plate, and laser etched. Do you ever think of using the etched scales?
I really love their etched scales, but for a lot of our work it's kind of out of budget, because we focus so much of our budget for inventory restock on just like the basic scales and stuff. But I have gone through and done some of my own etching, which has been really fun.
Can silver plated be hammered? I guess wire.
It can, but be gentle with it. I'd recommend. Oh, the question is, can silver plated parawire be hammered? And that's, I do a lot of hammering with my nylon side of the head, but it's like some of them, I mean, if you just wail on it and wail on it, trying to really get it nice and thinned out, it doesn't, like, sometimes the silver can, like, get hammered off, if that makes sense.
Would you ever consider coming to the UK to run some workshops? I would be there in a shot.
I would, the question is, would I ever consider going to the UK to teach workshops? Oh my gosh, yes. And if you guys know any, like, crafting studios or, like, even of your universities, if they have, like, a fashion department that wants to host, like, wire wrapping or, like, jewelry design or anything like that, I would be there in a heartbeat, but we'd have to, like, start a fund or something, because I don't even have a passport. So, but I would love to get to go overseas.
Do you craft with wood, and if so, what do you make and what wood do you use?
The question is, do I craft with wood, and if so, what do I make and what wood do I use? The most I've ever done with woodworking was buying these little pine wood boxes from Hobby Lobby and doing the wood burning on them. And this one, the latch had messed up, so I use it for leather staining. But I really love like wood burning. Walnut's probably a favorite. Maple is beautiful. Anything that I can get that's fine grained. Poplar burns nicely.
Do you grow tea plants in your garden? If so, any tips?
The question is, do I grow tea plants in my garden, and if I have any tips? I haven't grown like the Picoe orange tea, like the black tea that people are used to like brewing and drinking. But I grow a lot of my own herbs for use in herbal teas, and growing chamomile was probably like the most rewarding thing ever, because there is nothing like fresh chamomile tea. Like you harvest it, you dry it, as soon as they're dry, you make it into tea. It's like honey sweet. It's delicious.
Have you done any work with riveted mail?
With the riveted, the question is, have I done any work with the riveted chainmail? I got to see a little bit of it hands-on at a Renaissance festival. The fellow was at a blacksmithing booth, and well, because of like heat reasons and stuff, like safety, because he had like a little torch so he was using. I didn't get to work with it personally, hands-on, but I have gotten to touch the pieces and really like see how they were made and stuff. And it nothing else will drive home how much what we do is purely costume armor, like seeing genuine armor be made, but it was the same weave. Like it was that same European foreign one, so like he was still, because the rings overlap like in this way, that way, and then the fellow heated them, and then he had a machine that he would rivet press it in, but so that ring, he would open it up and he would still weave it through in that same way. And through talking, I was like, if I do ever get into making the riveted armor, I do want to be very, very proficient at this basic 4-in-1 weave, because you do not want to rivet a steel ring and then be like, oh, I messed up. How do I fix that? So getting kind of your bearings about you on weaving just regular chainmail with butted rings is a really great start. Okay, next question.
Can you recommend a good wood burning tool? And if so, can you use it on leather as well?
The question is, would I recommend a good wood burning tool? And if so, can you use it on leather as well? Just from like Walnut Hollow, their metal tipped wood burner, I highly recommend, both for wood burning and leather burning purposes. The only downside to it is sometimes you have to let the iron heat back up if you're doing like a lot of lines very quickly, but you can use the fact that it does cool down, because some of the wood burners, like the tip is like wire and it has electricity and it burns like nice and hot and consistent. Those are lovely, but they're very expensive compared to like $30 for a walnut hollow kit that comes with all these different tips. It even comes with like a soldering point and some flux and salt. Yeah, some flux. Sorry, words are hard. But you can use the fact that it does cool as you go to like burn very deeply and then lighten it up as you come back, and that way you can get like really nice little, I don't know, details.
Yvonne, I've gotten into sculpting slash mold making, or do you rather? If so, would you make a tutorial on it?
Right on. The question is about sculpting and mold making. I haven't actually gotten to play with that as much as I would like, but if anybody has some old putty that they wouldn't mind sending me for me to mess with, I would totally, like, in a heartbeat, make tutorials on it. But it's, again, it's something that I prefer the hand sculpted, like, one of a kindness, but I would love to be able to make my own molds too, especially for these bigger fairy houses, to be able to kind of do that. Somebody had asked, how about putting a cool dragon eye into a wooden plaque? That would be cool. I've actually had a friend of mine commission a piece of work like that. So he wants like a wall plaque with a very large dragon eye with like some wire wrapping around it. So I was going to do like wood, leather, eye, wire, like all together. So I'll be sure to make a tutorial because he paid for that like back in February. So I really need to get on that.
How do I contact you for custom projects? Try emailing, but no response.
I'm so sorry that I have not gotten to my emails, everybody. And that's something that's normally, that is how you would contact me. But whenever we're on the road, all I have to check my email is our phone. And it bunches all of my emails plus replies that I've sent into one like email stack. So, I mean, we got home Monday night, but then Tuesday we spent just sleeping. And then today we got up and I taught a class and I just got home to be here with y'all. So whenever I get off live streaming today, I will be going through and getting to some of my messages. So please be patient with me.
What advice do you have to give to someone who's starting their own craft business?
The question is, what advice do I have for someone who is starting their own crafting business? In addition to my usual advice in all things, to be patient, persistent, and, what was the third P? There's usually a third P in there. Patient with yourself, persistent. I don't remember. I just brain farted so hard, you guys. But in addition to what I usually recommend, is to be versatile, to roll with the punches as much as you can, because sometimes the idea that you get in your head of what you'd like to be happening is not at all what happens, ever. Like, that's Randy and I's motto has been to, this isn't what we planned, but this is what's happening. And that's for load-in, that's on something may sell exceptionally well at one show, and then at the next show, not a single other move. Like, this past weekend up in Indiana, I had made like 7 corsets. Not a one of them sold. But then the show that we were at in Memphis, we sold every single one that we had. And it's like, so sometimes there's just no telling how something's going to sell. So it's stay versatile and adaptable, and that way you can kind of roll with the punches and do your best. But building up a very healthy base inventory whenever you go into a show, like, you want the booth to look just as full on a Friday or on a Sunday as what it does on a Friday. Like, because take a lot of cues from mainstream marketing, the way that like grocery stores, bookstores, and boutiques everywhere, the way that the big guys, the big box stores sell their stuff, because there's a certain wisdom to, empty shelves don't sell. And that's, if it looks like you only have like one of a thing, it won't sell as well as if it looks like you have 5 or 10 even. And so it's just the way humans are, I guess. But, and so look into, like, yellow is a very eye-catching color. So a lot of people that we know will have, like, muted tone signs with, like, bold, eye-catching, like, lettering and logos on them. Like, every little bit that you can do to make your booth or your website as approachable and as memorable as possible, the better. So, next question.
What about a baby dragon hatching from an egg?
Like sculpt. Okay, the question is, what about a baby dragon hatching from an egg? And I hope you guys mean a sculpted one, because I'm gonna do that. Like, I decided just now whenever Randy read that to me. Like, that's gonna happen, you guys. Oh my god, that'd be so cute. Ah! Okay, next question.
I made some of your bikini male tops, and the LARPers in the area love them. Thanks, Randy.
Right on. It wasn't really a question, but a fellow said that they really like, they made some of our chainmail bikini tops, and that their area LARPers really liked them. I'm so glad. I'm glad to have been helpful. Oh, it's a she. Hey. What's the feminine of fellow? Fellette? I don't know.
Do you have a tutorial on your bra/vest?
Not yet. I'm working on it. We have the leather dyed and sitting up there waiting for me to cut it out, but I was going to do that on video. So, again, be patient with me, guys, because I want to keep from uploading another video like our agate tutorial, because that was rough. But that's what happens whenever it's like the 5th tutorial I've shot that day and my brain goes The question is, how much overhead and backstock should we carry? Randy and I carry 4 tackle boxes worth of jewelry. Let me see if I can show you in the camera. So you see this table over here, like right there? Those 4 tackle boxes, those are chock full of jewelry. Well, right now they're a lot emptier than I'd like them to be. But, yeah, so we carry, because, I mean, especially in years past, whenever we'd have like 3 shows back to back, you can only sell as much as you have. And so it's like, if you want to sell $1,000 worth of product a weekend and you have 3 shows back to back, you need at least $3,000 worth of inventory. And usually we try to not leave the house with less than 10. And that's just because we really have our fingers crossed, like, well, maybe somebody will buy everything. But that's earrings, bracelets, finger rings, ear cuffs, necklaces, pendants, special, like, kind of weird one-of-a-kind pieces, like we do a lot of hand flowers and anklets, and also our costume pieces, which they really help us get our inventory content up, because our corsets start at 200, and I think right now we have like 5 or 6 corsets in stock, not including what I'm going to be making over the next couple of weeks before we go to Anime St. Louis. So, it seems like a lot, but if you have somebody come through and they're like, oh, I really loved that necklace, but it's sold already. Like, that's why we kind of try to make duplicates of some of our different pieces, and things like that. Like, especially when I'm making earrings, like if it's just like a little charm on an ear hook, I'll make like 5 pairs of the same pair of earrings. Because, you know, what if somebody wants matching, like, oh, my friend and I want the same earrings? It's like, well, I want to be able to take your money. Sorry. One of our friends... Climbing up? Okay, next question.
The guitar played in most of your videos, is that you playing? I love it, so relax.
Oh, thank you. The question is about the guitar music, background music, if that's me playing, and that is in a lot of them. We also do some music by True Productions Studios, True Production, I don't know. The credits, if it's not by us, will be at the end of the video. I have a lot of music by my stepdad, Fred Chadwick, who, it's FC Chadwick is his YouTube name. And again, we usually put the links in there, that way y'all can go check out their channels. But the one that's like just very gentle strumming, that's me. That's all I know how to do on the guitar. But I'm working on it. Ooh, the question is, have I ever done a Moku Magane polymer clay? And I have, and I loved it. I'll actually be having quite a few more polymer clay tutorials coming up in the near future. Let me see if I still have it. Because this is one of the plugs that I had made with a Moku Magane cane in one of our other tutorials. And this has glow-in-the-dark clay in it. But I wanted to make some, like, pendants and stuff that have the Moku Magane, but it's like a store-bought bezel in the background, but it's been like domed, and you'll see, like, it'll be cool. But I'm going to revisit now that we have the improved camera technology, and now that I've kind of figured it out a little bit, I'm still not good at it, but I'm better than what I was, and that's tremendous improvement. But we'll be doing much more polymer clay in the future, so I'll be sure to do a Mokumagane one. Next question.
How about a dragon with a fairy riding it coming out of a wave?
Ooh. The question is, how about a dragon with a fairy riding it coming out of a wave? That sounds more like something I would do in mixed media and colored pencils than a sculpture. That sounds a little bit out of my current skill set, but I'll definitely try it. Next question.
Where do you get your leather for armor and what weight is it?
The question is, where do I get my leather for armor and what weight is it? I get all of my leather from Tandy Leather. You can find they have an online presence, but you can also go to their website, tandyleather.com, and put in your zip code and see if they have a store near you, because I really recommend going in and picking them out in person. I use vegetable tanned saddle skirting for our leather armor because it's very thick, it's very stiff, so it holds its shape really well, and it can be anywhere from $110 to $400 per side, but it's a whole side of cows, so that's a lot of leather. Next question.
Will you ever do a video on how to make a leather overbust corset?
The question is, would I consider doing a video about a leather overbust corset? And I would love to do that.
Would you ever consider doing a video on leather overbust corsets and consider doing a video on how to correctly measure yourself for patterns?
Right on. And also, I still am working on the leather work, like the leather corset pattern tutorial, because we want to have patterns up for sale on the website in conjunction with releasing the video. And every time I start making a pattern, I learn more about how to make a pattern better. And so it's like, I want to give you guys the best product that I can. So again, please be patient.
Love your necklace. Is there a video for it?
Right on. No, on this one, I made this last night in an effort to finally fill this custom order that my friend placed like a millennia ago. And so it's also like I'm going through and you can see I still have all of this to wrap for her. These ones are done. These ones I still need to set with the epoxy, and then all of these I still need to wrap. So I've been doing a lot of stuff off camera, just in an effort to get caught up. But I was really pleased with how it came out.
How much time do you usually have between conventions?
This year we have 2 to 3 weeks in between each convention to get caught up on videos, hopefully get ahead on videos, and maybe, if we're lucky, get some inventory made, as well as trying to get caught up on custom work. Y'all are keeping me busy.
Oh, there's plenty more.
Oh goodness. No, like in general.
Do you ever make toe rings? If so, how do you
Right
differ
on.
from making finger rings?
The question is, do I ever make toe rings, and how does that differ from making finger rings? I do make toe rings. It's actually, I have an ear cuff tutorial. It's the simple ear cuff that just fits on this part of your ear, and that can be done as well as, like, that same design can be either an ear cuff or a toe ring. And so with that in mind, the difference between a toe ring and a finger ring is that the toe rings are always very adjustable, because there's often, if this is a toe, usually the head of the toe is much thicker than like the stem of the toe, like the tip and the, I don't know, and so you want it to be able to fit but not be like flopping around, and so I make them adjustable and quite malleable. That way you can kind of smush it down and get it to fit the way that you like. Next question.
How close to MA do you get from cons?
MA. Is that Maryland?
I think so.
We've been to Maryland before. We went to Baltimore for shore leave one year, and that was fantastic. But it was like a 17-hour drive, which was killer because Randy drove it all in one day, which was intense. So not frequently. It's been like 6 years, I think, since we went up to Maryland. Next question.
Will you use the bunny pelts?
Yes. They're right here. These are some of them that I haven't made into stuff. And then we actually have a batch right here on my dress form of shoulder wraps. And these ones, Randy's still working on getting the, No, it didn't sound good. Everything's okay though. Sorry guys. I'm so glad that didn't break. Oh, it says I have a poor connection though.
Massachusetts.
Oh, Massachusetts. No, I've never gone up that far. Well, what's the...
I've been there. Are you planning on doing Pagan Pride Day in Indy?
I'm not planning on that. This was kind of itching me a bit. I'm going to have to file down some of the points. The question is, are we planning on doing Pagan Pride Day in Indiana? Indiana? In Indy?
Yeah, Indy.
Oh, Indianapolis? I don't know. We haven't been in, like, contact with anybody about it, so I don't guess we're planning on it. But if we find out the dates, I might be really, really interested in doing that. I love going hanging with the pagans.
Do you ever make a leather top, or did you ever make a leather top that you're wearing?
Did I ever make the leather top that I'm wearing? Like a tutorial? I'm working on making a tutorial on how to make my top. Next question.
What thickness would be a good thickness for leather bracelets?
For leather, the question is
bracelets,
what thickness would be a good thickness for leather bracelets? A lot of that depends on your own personal preference. I've seen some really nice bracelets made out of like a 6-ounce leather, but I prefer closer to like a 3 or a 4, a much thinner leather. So just because it makes it really lightweight, and I don't really like stiff, chunky stuff around my wrists. So next question.
This is a long one. Any recommendations for a cheap way to deeper home cut rings? I'm making my own from copper wire and cutting it with a Dremel, but I often get messy sharpened edges.
The way that you're doing it, the question is, do I have an inexpensive way of recommending to coil and cut your own rings at home? And they say that they coil them and cut them with a Dremel, but they end up with sharp edges. You can go to Harbor Freight, even harborfreight.com, and put into the search bar or ask an associate about a rotary tumbler. We got ours for $30, and then we go to Rio Grande and got some stainless steel shot and a burnishing compound, and that's what we tumble our work in, and that will it'll get rid of all those little sharp burrs and edges, so that'll really help you out.
Next one is, how do you measure a subject for the chainmail bra, or is it just a trial and error thing?
For our the question is, how do I measure a subject for our chainmail bras? And usually what I do is I get their bra size from them. Because even though they might both be B cups, there's a big difference between a 32B and a 38B. And so based off of that, I have an actual like pack of like a Ethan's, I think is the name brand, but bra patterns that I had gotten online for making fabric bras out of. And I compare that fabric to like that pattern to the chainmail, and you basically just make the pattern piece, like you make the chainmail into that shape, and then you piece it together, and that way you'll be getting the right coverage. But then again too, you run into stuff that it's like, how much coverage do they want? Because sometimes a B cup, if it wants a full coverage, takes as much material as a D cup. It's just tapered differently. So boobs are interesting, and they're very fun to work with. And so trial and error makes a lot of it, and the more you do it, the more you'll learn of how to adapt it in the future to make it more accommodating for that person. And the differences between boobs is why we do so much in booth modification, as well as the lifetime repair and resize warranties too on all of our work. Next question.
Okay. How's that fossil coming along, Patricia?
Hey Patricia. I'm starting it today, actually. We're gonna get done here. We're gonna mow the grass, eat lunch, and then I'm starting in on your fossil. But I will make sure to have it mailed off and to you in time for your deadline.
Have you ever been to Canada?
I've never been to Canada. I think as a very, very young child, like I don't have any memories of this, but my mom says that we went. I was on the American side of Niagara Falls, but that's the closest I've ever been, and I don't even remember it, so I don't even know if that counts.
Are those genuine joglings on the necklace? If so, what from? And do you have anything to do with them to make them more suitable?
The question is about the jawbones on this necklace. They are real jawbones, though I have no idea what animal they came from. The lady who wanted this piece actually provided the little tentacles, the jawbones, as well as the acrylic glass there in the center, and just wanted me to make it into a necklace. So I went through and I wire wrapped it, and then I was test wearing it for a bit, but they were just rubbing just a little bit on the back side. And so what I'm doing is I'm going through with this, it's a metal file, and I'm just kind of filing down some of the rougher spots. And something that I may also go through and do is use my, there it is. My Mod Podge. It's Mod Podge, but I was saying it wrong, and so many people gave me such flack about it that I was like, so I wrote it in. It's Mod Podge. But no, going through with the Mod Podge on the back of it, and just making a little bit of a barrier to kind of keep the teeth from being pokey and stuff, and so that way making it a little bit more resilient too, possibly. But yeah, I'm just... I did not make a video on this one. It's like, it adds at least 4 hours to the production time to get a video of a piece. And that's on something like this where there wasn't even any weaving. But, I need to kind of get some of our custom work just like made and shipped out. So, trying my best to get ahead, but struggling.
Ian finds a visiting Gen Con in Indianapolis this year.
Oh, I would love to go to Gen Con. The question is, do we have any plans on going to Gen Con? And the answer is, I don't know yet, because we're going to be at Dragon, but we're going to have in years past, we've been in the Dragon Con art show, and then we moved up to the dealer's room in a 10x10, but then it's like, there's so much other stuff that we wanted to do in the month of August other than just Dragon, so we kind of narrowed it down a little bit more, and like, we're like, well, okay, well, we'll do a 6-foot table, which is basically our art show setup, but in the dealer's hall. And so we're gonna be there, but it's like, I don't know, we might go up to Gen Con to cosplay, to be in the costume contest, because I mean, if that's not good exposure and promotion for the artisan education that we're doing here, then I don't know what is. But we're really gonna have to see where we're at financially, as well as just what's going on that month. Next question.
What's your experience with Spirit Glue, if you have used Spirit Gum before?
The question is, what's my experience with Spirit Gum, if I've used it before? I use it like every weekend. I don't recommend it for putting on eyelashes. It says not to use it around your eyeballs, and it's good to take that advice. But other than that, I use the heck out of it. It holds up, I find, a lot better to sweat and humidity and just moisture in general than liquid latex does. As well as for like putting on the horns and stuff. If we just used liquid latex, then people who came through with latex allergies wouldn't be able to wear it. And some people express a sensitivity to Spirit Gum, so I mean, everybody's different, but I really like it. Next question.
My wife's embossing machine do it any damage?
The question is about embossing machines, and I think they're asking about if we feed the leather through the embossing machine. It can pop the gears out of alignment if you put too thick of a leather through it. So if it's one of like the vintage embossers, I would not put leather in there. Like, I would only do it with like a very inexpensive, easy to replace machine. Just because I cannot be held responsible if you break your wife's really nice embosser. Okay, next question. Huh?
Do you tumble any rings you sell in bulk?
Some of them come tumbled, some of them do not. We charge as if none of them are tumbled, but sometimes we just tumble in batch. And really it doesn't hurt to tumble it before and after weaving. So, next question.
Pagan Pride Day is Saturday, September 23rd, 2017, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m.
I think that's the same weekend as SpaCon, the Indiana Pride Day. So, I think if we do one or the other, we'd be doing SpaCon. So, sorry.
Do you wear most pieces you make before sending them to their new loving homes?
I do try to, at least a little bit. Like, I'll at least sit there and, like, rub it on the back of my hand, all different kinds of which ways to see if there's any kind of, like, snagging. Because I have a very sensitive neck to like, having stuff up around it. And so it's, like, I'll find in a heartbeat where the pokey stuff is on a necklace on my neck. And so it's something that if I can't pick up on it on my hand, or, like, rubbing it kind of right here, then it shouldn't bother them at all. And if it does, then, I mean, like I said, everybody has different sensitivities. Hey, Melissa! Mwah!
Someone said a lion riding an elephant carrying a shark.
Now they're just getting silly. If you pay me to make a lion riding an elephant carrying a shark, I'll make the heck out of it. I love doing custom work. Oh, right on. Well, it's been an hour. So I think we're gonna go, and I'm gonna get back to work. But I wanted to thank y'all for coming in and hanging out with me. Y'all had some really good questions. Like, I talked like nonstop this time. What's up?
Bob, just.
How do you get out the ocean? Whale watches are coming. Also, nice tits. Well, thank Bob. How do you make sure water doesn't snag on clothes or irritate the skin? That's a good question, and I'll answer it before we go. The question is, how do I keep wire from irritating the person's skin? And to make sure it doesn't snag. In a lot of my tutorials, you'll see me using my my bent nose pliers to kind of go through and, like, kind of train the wire down a little bit. I tend to do that before filing, because more often than not, I can get it to be nice and flat with my wire tips.
Fairy Festival, PA.
Oh, I haven't done a fairy festival, but I would love to. Also, there's another question about planting beetroot in autumn. If you can plant it early enough, like usually in August, is whenever I plant my fall crop of beets, but you have to harvest them before the frosts really set in, at least in my area, because you can mulch it thickly and come back and harvest it later, or you have to harvest it before it really deep freezes, because otherwise they'll just rot in the ground. So thank you guys so much for popping in and saying hey. If y'all enjoy my work, please go and check us out on Patreon. For just $1 a month, it puts your name in the hat to win one of our hand-sculpted fairy houses, or homes for the gnomeless, as I like to call them. Also, if you pledge $5, it puts your name in the hat 5 times. And also, this is across the board on all of our social media giveaways, whether it's on Facebook, Instagram, DeviantArt, what have you. It also puts your name in the hat for our seed giveaways without you having to do any additional commenting, liking, sharing, or whatever. Like, so the Patreon's a little bit of a VIP club. All of the proceeds from that go towards the production of more videos, the artisan education that we try to do at conventions, all sorts of stuff like that. Also, if you pledge $10 or more, you actually get stuff mailed to you. Because we were going to do it at a $5 mark, but it's $3 to ship stuff. So that's why we do you the little promo for the $5 one. But, yeah, thank you guys so much for all of your support. Can we get a big, like, heck yeah for all of y'all? We're up to 25,000 subscribers, you guys. Like, what? So thank you guys so much for making my dreams come true every day. And thank you to Randy of Randy Von Gaming for moderating for us and keeping the trolls at bay. Ish. But I don't know. I didn't see any trolls, so that was awesome. So if you guys want to go and subscribe to Randy to see us game over on his channel, because I try to keep it relatively professional here, but if you check him out, like, sometimes we drink a little bit. I'm just saying. And it can get quite fun. But yeah, thanks everybody. Bye.